Hi everyone, I'm Josh.
And I'm Anna.
And we're Geek On Review, and this is Dissecting the Dead. Tonight we're talking about Season 5, Episode 13 of The Walking Dead, titled Forget. First thing right off, it was still a pretty feel-good episode overall, as far as tone.
At least for the first half.
Yeah.
The second half started to darken up a bit, but the first half was very light. Happy-go-lucky.
Well, compared to other episodes of the show, obviously. Basically, as soon as the horse died.
Yeah, the horse was kind of the catalyst. Kind of, everything went downhill from there.
But that was by far, I think, the lowest moment of this episode. Mm-hmm. Nobody died. I mean, they announced a surprise guest on Talking Dead, but it wasn't to mourn the loss of a character. It was kind of to get excited for a new one. Okay, so right off, we open up the show with Sasha. Sasha's out in the middle of the wilderness, and it seems like she's trying to draw some walkers toward her. She's sniping the picture frames and hoping the noise draws some walkers, it seems like. Why do you think that is?
I think Sasha is going through some PTSD. Definitely. I don't think she's coping with the losses as well as everybody else is. Especially with Bob, and then almost immediately Beth, and then almost immediately Tyrese. I think it's just too much for her.
She's, I think, lost more than anyone here recently anyway. And she gets really frustrated that the walkers aren't showing up.
Yeah, I think she was... I think it was almost suicide by walker. I think it was an attempt, because she even mentioned at one point, like, I'm right here, come get me type thing. I think it was, she was trying to do suicide by walker, and when they didn't show up, it's like she was
getting pissed.
Yeah, it's like she's not, she can't do it herself, so she was going to have them do it. Although, had they shown up, I don't think she would have went through. I think she would have killed them all, because it's almost just instinct right now.
Right, yeah. So I'm really interested to see what they do with Sasha from the rest of the season, because they've really kind of not used her as much as they really could have. So I hope they use this opportunity to really highlight her.
Yeah, her character has been kind of just boring and in the shadows. Not much has happened with her. Things around her have happened. So you've had her relationship with Bob, and then Bob dying. But like her herself, she hasn't really gone through anything, and so this will be really, really interesting, because I like her character.
I'm excited to see what happens with Sasha. And then the branded walkers with the W on the forehead. We saw one of those this episode. I'm not sure what they're hinting at here. I have a couple of hunches, but I'm not going to spoil anything. One thing we decided that we wanted to do was not spoil the show with knowledge from the comics.
Yes.
If something happened in the comics prior in the show, does that make sense? I hope so.
For example, Andrea died in the show. She's still alive in the comics.
Right.
We're not spoiling the show for you. Hopefully, if you wanted to read the comics, you've already read them, because we're kind of spoiling that for you.
Right.
But, you know,
we'll do our absolute best not to use foreknowledge from the comics to spoil anything from the show. Like I said, I have a couple of hunches what the W might mean.
Regardless of anything from the comics or anything like that, the W is obviously a sign of a new nemesis. We have a new governor, or a new terminus. We have a new nemesis that's going to be coming for the entire community.
The big bad in the show is what they call it.
The big bad.
So it'd be interesting to see who that is or what that is. Speaking of the comics and characters who died in the comics, we mentioned last video that Jessie seems like she's going to be the new Andrea, in that she might be Rick's love interest. But one thing that it just occurred to us watching this episode, Sasha's kind of taking Andrea's place in that she has become basically an expert sniper. And that is Andrea's character in the comic.
Yeah, Andrea's character, I mean, she's the one who's doing the clock duty to be a lookout for the community, and she's the one who's the best shot. I mean, even in the show, she learned how to shoot very quickly and was a very good shot.
Even when they were in Woodbury.
When they were in Woodbury. So I think Sasha's just kind of taken that role. I think that's about the only thing. Since Andrea is dead, they can't really have an Andrea, so I think they're splitting off her character.
Which they do a lot in the show. For instance, Dale died in season 2. However, in the comics, he lasted way longer. But Bob was given his death in the show.
Yeah.
With getting eaten and, tainted meat, that. So, they do a really good job of paying homage to the source material, which I really appreciate as a viewer and as a reader.
It's really fun to be watching the episode and be like, "Oh, that's from the comics."
And every once in a while, you'll see a shot in the show that is directly related to a panel from the comic, and that's really fun to see. Okay. One of the big things I want to talk about is the budding friendship between Aaron and Daryl. We talked about it briefly while we were watching it, how some people are going to see this building friendship and go, oh man, they are going to make Daryl gay. First of all, so what if they did?
Yeah.
Norman has already said he would rock the hell out of that storyline if that's what they write. But I didn't get that vibe.
Me either. I don't think that's where they're going with this storyline. I mean, who knows? They haven't really announced his sexuality, so we don't know. So he could be gay. We have no idea. But I don't think this friendship is what's going to bring that out to the viewers. This friendship's more of he's finally found somebody in the community that he can kind of be real with. He can understand and...
Robert Kirkman did mention on an episode of Talking Dead that Daryl is straight. But, come on, these guys haven't exactly been, completely honest with their viewers. They got to kind of mislead us every once in a while. Just to surprise us, right? So, like I said, I don't think it's a big deal if they did make Daryl homosexual. I don't see it going that way. I think he's just finally met someone at Alexandria who he can kind of relate to, because they kind of have the same job.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, Aaron's probably looked at as kind of the lone wolf in that community because he's not really in the community all that often.
Most of his time probably outside the wall.
He's out trying to find other people to join the community.
And that was Daryl's job at the prison.
Yeah, so I mean, they kind of have just something in common to bud a relation or a friendship on.
And I think that'll be really interesting. I mean, you can see how it's affected Daryl already. Already he's having second thoughts.
Yeah, he wouldn't take the gun.
Yeah.
He decided, he doesn't want to betray the community by taking the gun. And I don't think it was so much the community as it was he didn't want to betray Aaron. They kind of had, hunting together kind of was a bonding moment where they kind of understood each other. And I think he has respect for Aaron now.
Yeah.
So, he doesn't want to mess that up.
Yeah. And I think he realized that he said it in the previous episode that he's almost basically just there to take care of Carl and Judith. The boy and the baby need roofs, I think, or he said something like that.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of made him want to try. And now that he is trying, he's found a friend, and it's probably the least likely person he decided to make a friendship with. But I think it's...
Yeah, their personalities are extremely different.
Yeah. I mean, Aaron's
very likable,
he's like a jester.
Personable, very socially, like social butterfly almost. And Daryl's not. He's socially awkward. He doesn't like the big groups. I think the biggest thing he's having problems with in this community is they're all kind of.
They're snooty.
Yeah, they're kind of the stereotypical rich people. I know not all rich people, obviously that's why I say stereotypical, but they're kind of, would hold their nose up to him. Look at this country boy trying to make it in our fashionable society almost. Yeah. And I think he just knows that they're not going to accept him as he is.
Well, I think he's looking at this community and going, these people never would have, like, if I would have been walking down the street before the turn, somebody would have called the cops.
Hell, if he had been by himself and not with the group and Aaron brought him back, they wouldn't have taken him in. Yeah. They would have been like, Aaron, have you lost your damn mind?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
All right. This is something that I didn't really care for in this episode. Scary Carol, or as I called her, Scarol. I didn't like that scene at all. 'Cause I thought that was very out of character for her to just traumatize this little boy. I understand why she did it, but
Yeah.
I think the Carol that we've come to know probably would have gone about getting him to keep her secret a little differently. I don't know. What do you think?
I actually really liked the scene. I liked Scary Carol. I think she's come to understand that people are different now and that you can't be the same. Her probably more so than anybody else in the group. I don't think anybody else in the group could have done that, and I'm not sure that kid would keep the secret if she had not done that. She knows that she would never do that, but he doesn't know that. He doesn't know her. So it's not so much that she would actually carry out this threat, it's that he thinks she would carry out this threat. And so he's scared. And it kind of makes him scared of her a little bit, but, you know, he's the only one. Everybody else thinks she's this clueless, lovely lady who cooks and...
A bit of a ditz, maybe?
Yeah, kind of a bit of a ditz, doesn't know how to shoot, you know, stuff like that. So, I think she, like Carol always does, she did what needed to be done that nobody else would have been able to do.
Yeah. Our group has started forming their conspiracy to take over Alexandria if the need arises, which, I mean, clearly it's going to. It's just, what will the catalyst be?
These people are completely inadequate to be running the society. I mean, gosh, with the scene with Rick, Michonne, was it Deanna?
Mm-hmm.
And Maggie, and she said, that's why I have Maggie working with me, because we're going to have a government, and we're going to have police. I'm like, this is post-apocalypse. Are you kidding me?
I was on board until she said commerce. I'm like, wow.
Yeah,
You're
commerce
thinking about
and
the freaking
industry
economy in the zombie apocalypse?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that it's impossible. I mean, eventually, I'm sure they'll have some form of all this, but I think it'll probably be more along the lines of Native American.
It'll be a bartering system at most.
Yeah. Who's going to sit down to elect officials when there's zombies outside your door?
The executive, the legislative, and the judicial. Like she has this very kind of, I don't know, Oz view. Like she thinks, it's like a fairy tale almost. Like she's so optimistic.
But she's been there almost since the very beginning.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't long ago. So she's kind of been sheltered from it, and it shows in the way she's running things. I mean, even at the party, how awkward was that cocktail party where everybody's just getting drunk? Who gets drunk in the zombie apocalypse? You don't
Abraham. Abraham gets shitty.
Abraham. But, you know, the entire group, you don't get, everybody doesn't get drunk.
Yeah.
I mean,
somebody has to be responsible.
Somebody has to be responsible, and you'd have to really trust that person to allow yourself to become inebriated.
They basically never man the tower. And
and they have the tower,
And then the whole community was in one place.
At one time.
Getting drunk.
And talking about...
That's the most irresponsible thing I think anybody's ever done on the show. And Lori wrecked a car, like driving solo on the road.
Yeah, with no other traffic. With a single solitary walker.
So, I mean, props to Deanna for, you know, one-upping Lori.
And also, the conversation was so mundane. Like, I completely understand Sasha kind of losing her head. Yeah. I mean, it is kind of a sign of the post-traumatic stress disorder, I believe. But she was right on point. I mean, there is no guarantee that you guys are going to have food in a year or two. Katarzyna, stop it. Our cat's being terrible. And they're talking about wanting a pasta maker and other nonsense. Like, what's your favorite meal? How about one that I don't have to hunt? Like how about one that it doesn't take me 12 hours of going door to door searching through cupboards to try to find food. It's beyond her. She's just completely done with these people.
I was really kind of hoping she would have said dog.
Like, well,
Those,
we had dog the other day.
Those
It was
dogs
pretty good.
were delicious.
Yeah.
They just a little salt, it would have been perfect. I don't know. We're not going to do predictions this episode. We've decided we're going to wait till Tuesday to post a predictions show, and then Wednesday I think we're going to do a review of I think it's issue 139 of the comic. We're going to review that Wednesday. So, do you have anything else that you noticed that you would like to talk about?
Not really. This was kind of a slow episode.
Not a whole lot happened.
Not a lot to talk about. It wasn't boring or anything. It just there wasn't all these things jumping out like last episode that you really wanted to talk about and kind of dig into.
It was basically building a foundation for the last 3, which I'm excited for.
Yes.
And we will see you Tuesday for our prediction show. Thanks for watching.